Of the entirety of my life of playing video games, I definitely would say my favorite genre of all time is the platform genre. There's just so many games out there to play in the platform genre, and there's a lot of good ones to recommend too, especially for the PS1. There's a lot of games for the system, like stuff like Crash, Spyro, Rayman, but there's so much more than that to play. Today, I'm going to go over some games that you should definitely play that are 2D or 2.5D platformers for the PS1 that you should definitely check out. And keep a note, some of these games are on newer hardware, so just want to let you know about that too, so you don't have to play it on a PS1 or other means of that. Also, this is a personal list that I came up with. I know these aren't the best games of all time, or, you know, like 10 out of 10 on IGN or whatever. This is just games I think that people should check out that are good quality titles. So sit back, relax, let's go over these games. Number 1. Tomba is a 2.5D Metroidvania game that came out in '98 for the PS1, and it was developed by Whoopee Camp and published by Sony. This game is a very good example of what 2.5D is. Pretty much, you're on a side-scrolling lane, like a 2D plane, but you can also go into the foreground and background and stuff. You do that a lot in this game. This game is in fact a Metroidvania, and it's got all the platforming stuff you have, and it's got some RPG elements. It's a very colorful and bright game with some great music and actually pretty good graphics for the time. The gameplay is also very solid, and you talk to a lot of NPCs, and you kind of just have to figure out where to go, and you usually get items and bring them to the people, and it's just a really cool game, really cool concept. Not many games like it. This game is definitely one I would check out, and also if you want to play this game, it's not only on the PS1 anymore. You can actually play this on PS5 and Nintendo Switch. They just released this not that long ago, so definitely the best way to play it would probably be that way. I had a jam-packed demo disc, and I would just play this whole section over and over again so many times because I didn't have the game at the time and it wasn't available for rent. So if you definitely like what you see here, definitely check it out any way you can for the PS1 or on modern systems. Number 2. Mega Man doesn't really need much of an introduction, but Megaman X4 is seriously a top-notch, high-quality game for the PlayStation 1. It was also on the Saturn back in the day, but it's also on available consoles, so you can play this really any possible way you want. It's on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It's a 2D platformer though. It's just like, you know, the other Mega Man games, and of course the first 3 games were on Super Nintendo, and then they continued the series on the PlayStation. 4, 5, and 6 are all 3 on this console, as a matter of fact. For the first time in the series with this entry, you can play as X or Zero, and it's like playing a totally different game with Zero, because he uses a lightsaber where X has the X-Buster, and this game just has awesome levels, great music, good bosses, and just fun time overall. The cutscenes are very laughable, but I think that gives charm to the game personally.
Without fear, for we are the Repliforce, the most powerful army in history! Yeah!
This game is such a blast. So definitely play this game any way you can. It's very easy to get access to this, so definitely play on modern systems if that's the way that you gotta go. Number 3. Hercules is a game that I actually talked about recently on this channel and did a game review on. It is definitely a 2.5D platformer. If you haven't seen the review yet, definitely give that a look. The link's in the description. For a Disney game not made by Capcom at this era, this game actually looks fantastic, and it does play pretty good. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it's definitely a fun game, especially if you got kids, or if you want to just play more platform games that are from the PS1. Unfortunately, this game is only on that console. It's stuck in its era, so there's no other way to play it, so of course you know what that means. Play this by any means necessary. Number 4. For anyone who's familiar with the PlayStation 1 library, you probably knew that Klonoa was going to make this list, because it is a fantastic 2.5D platformer. Klonoa definitely has like one of the most simple control schemes of all time, but the gameplay can get very, very creative as you go through this game, and that definitely is what the selling point of this one is. It's the levels. The game starts off pretty easy, but it has kind of like a Kirby Yoshi vibe. I don't know, to me it does. And you can absorb these enemies with your little Hue-Pow guy and grab them. You can throw them, or you can do a double jump. It's very, very cool how they did that. and it's very fun gameplay as it goes on. The levels just get more creative as they do it, and the boss battles are also fun. So there are good news and bad news with this game. The bad news is this game is only on the PlayStation 1, at least this version is, and it goes for hundreds of bucks, so definitely don't go that route. The good news is they remade this game for the Nintendo Wii, but recently, over the past couple years, you actually can play it on modern consoles, the first and the second game, which was on the PS2. That's definitely the best way to play it, and probably the route that most people will take. If you want to play the original version, which I kind of like this version more because of the way it looks, but that's just me. If you want to play it though, definitely play it by any means necessary. Number 5. Wild 9 was definitely a game that caught me by surprise. I actually have never heard of this game until just recently. This game is actually made by the same guys who made Earthworm Jim and MDK, Shiny Entertainment, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. You play as this guy named Wex, and it's in this like science fiction setting kind of deal, and the game definitely has aged graphics wise, but you have this cool like electronic grappling hook thing that you use on enemies, and you just slam them, and it's kind of fun. I definitely think this is one worth checking out because it has good controls, and you can tell the guys who made this game definitely have experience, especially with games like Earthworm Jim, so it's under good hands. Now, unfortunately, the problem with this game, this one is like Hercules, stuck on its own console, so it never got re-released, at least up to this point in the time of the video. So if you want to play this game, you already know the drill, you gotta play it by any means necessary, but this one's pretty cool. Definitely give this one a look. Number 6. Pandemonium was definitely an interesting discovery I found out years ago, and the game's pretty fun too because you play as like 2 different characters, and it's very simple gameplay, but effective and fun. Fun fact too, this game is developed by Toys for Bob. They're the same people who developed the Spyro Reignited trilogy, as well as Crash Bandicoot 4, and the latest Crash game too. That's pretty cool. This game's pretty interesting though. It's only on the PlayStation 1 though, and the Sega Saturn, unfortunately. But it's not too expensive if you want to get it on PS1, but of course, I know that these are retro games, and PS1 discs are just not all that great, so I get it. This one, to be honest, doesn't have anything too innovative, but it's still a fun time nonetheless. It's just good old classic 2D platforming, so definitely check this one out any way you possibly can. Number 7. The Adventures of Lomax is a game that I've been wanting to play for so long, but man, this game is also expensive like Klonoa. So yeah, there goes that. But this game is a pretty dang good platformer. I played it for a little bit, and dude, this game just looks fantastic. This game has one-hit deaths, but you actually can do like a Crash Bandicoot kind of spin when you hit the X button twice when you land on the ground, so that's actually very helpful. But you can also pick up helmets throughout the adventure, and those things are like boomerangs, and they provide an extra hit, like in Mario when you get a mushroom. This game was a spin-off of the Lemmings series, which Lemmings was a very popular like kind of strategy game that people definitely know about and played back in the day, but this game was just left in, obscurity, and no one really talks about it, unfortunately. So like others on this list, it is only stuck on the PS1, so you're gonna have to do whatever you can to play this game unless you have $200+ to buy it. So yeah, it's a little annoying to get to play some of these games, but these are great games, and this one's definitely one I would recommend any way you could possibly play it. And there you have it. Those are 7 games that I recommend that anyone should try for this generation of games that are 2D or 2.5D platformers. Thankfully, about half of these you can play on modern systems, so you don't have to really rely on old technology to play these games. I really wish more games from this era got remastered or remade even, because seriously, there's so many good games that people don't even know about that will never even be talked about again, it seems like. To be fair, this is just really scratching the surface though. There's so many more games I could recommend, but it would just be a long video, so maybe someday I'll make another video like this or something similar. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give it a like. If you got something to say, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you enjoy this content and want to see more in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Take it easy.